Coast Salish people on whose traditional territory Brentwood College School resides. We express our gratitude to the Malahat and Cowichan nations. We value the opportunity to learn, live, and share educational experiences on this traditional territory. Welcome to the 2023 Remembrance Day Ceremony. Let me begin with an expression of gratitude to Ms. Plow and our technical crew for creating this beautiful and powerful setting here in the Killy Theatre. To Ms. Russman and our communications team for this beautiful and elegant program. To our head prefect and assistant head prefects for their reading of the honor roll. To Mr. Nunes and a wide array of talented musicians for the gift of music. And finally, to the person who curated today's ceremony, Mrs. Widdenmeyer. Brentwood, past and present, extends our deepest gratitude to you, Ms. Widdenmeyer. The 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. 105 years ago, on November 11th, 1918, World War I concluded. It was dubbed the Great War, the war to end all wars. Sadly, this expression of hope has not come to fruition. Fragmentation, segmentation, and division remain and is fueled by our deep-rooted need for tribalism. Unfortunately, lurking just under the surface of our skin, just waiting for a scratch to unleash it, is our default position to pit one against the other. That is grounded in our eye for an eye instinct, to divide us based on whatever our leaders choose. So the intent of Remembrance Day is to pause, reflect, and most importantly, remember the missteps of our past so that a future generation of citizens and leaders can forge a foundation of inclusiveness and respect. Today, as we celebrate our centenary year and honor those Brentonians that served, continue to serve, and for some of them, that made the ultimate sacrifice, let's join together with gratitude in our hearts and remembrance in our souls. As tradition dictates, when you exit in silence from the ceremony, please pin your poppy on the drapery surrounding the Brentonian Honor Roll that is displayed in the lobby of the T. Gill Bunch Center for Performing Arts. It is our way of binding you, today's Brentwood students and staff, to those from the past. Di Manu in Manum. For the last decade, I've had the privilege of reading a poem that was written just after World War II by one old Brentonian to another old Brentonian, one friend to another. Like you, they sat through classes, painted in studios, performed in drama productions, rowed on those waters, and played rugby for their school. However, unlike most of our recent graduates, and likely you, most did not go straight on to university. They instead went to war. The poem is aptly named A Distant Time. It was written by Colin Lytton Graham to immortalize his first 15 rugby teammate and friend, Ian Gillespie, whose name will be read out this morning and whose images that you saw up behind me earlier. You'll see the engraved version of this poem on the Gillespie Rock that sits outside the home change room of the Foot Center. I encourage you to look at this monument, and when you pass it, reach down and touch it for good luck. It is your way of connecting, acknowledging, and feeling our shared history. In our centenary year and for my final time as head of school, I'm honored to read this poem. In the changing room after the Navy game, he said, "Friend, I've joined the Air Force." Through the steam from the showers, he was already a ghost. "Live forever, pussycat," I said. "I promised you, you'll live forever. We're all immortal when we go to war." You were posted missing in action the next I knew. Your Beaufighter went down on bomber escort over the channel. At Runnymede, I saw your name 20 years later. It seemed a terrible waste of the best fullback the world had ever seen. The citation said you died drawing enemy fire. What else? You'd call for the mark, solid as houses, and you tackled like a rattlesnake. You didn't leave the kitchen when the fire got hot. I promised you you'd live forever. Well, almost. While I live, so do you. So, Brentonians from near and far, the torch has been passed to you to honor, to remember, and to learn from those that have come before you. Hold that torch high. As we live, so do they, lest we forget. Please be upstanding for the singing of the Canadian National Anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the five lowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down?
Did the band play the last post in chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? Did you leave a wife or a sweetheart behind? In some faithful heart is your memory enshrined. And though you died in 1916, in that faithful heart are you forever 19? Or are you a stranger without even a name, enclosed then forever behind glass panes? In an old photograph, torn, battered, and stained, and faded to yellow in a brown leather frame.
Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the five lowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down?
Did the band play the last post and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? The sun, how it shines o'er the green fields of France. There's a warm summer breeze makes the red poppies dance. And look how the sun shines from under the clouds. There's no gas, no barbed wire, there's no gun firing down. But here in this graveyard, it's still no man's land. The countless white crosses stand mute in the sand. To man's blind indifference to his fellow man, to a whole generation were butchered and damned.
Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the five lowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down?
Did the band play the last post and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? Now Willie McBride, I can't help but wonder why. If those that lie here know why did they die? And did they believe when they answered the call? Did they really believe that this war would end? For the sorrow, the suffering, the glory, the pain, the killing and dying was all done in vain. For young Willie McBride, it all happened again, and again, and again, and again, and again.
Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the five lowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down?
Did the band play the last post and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest?
Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the five lowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down?
Did the band play the last post and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest?
One of the many things that I appreciate about Brentwood and the Brentwood family are the stories that each of us have, the triumphs and the tragedies, the connections and the consequences, the honor and the humility. As we experience the world, each of us gains wisdom that we hope can be passed on to the next generation. Behind each smile or scowl is a person with a unique journey, and I love listening and understanding to the life's work of these remarkable people that make up this community. One person that I thoroughly enjoy chatting with is Mr. Bob Collins. He's one of our security guards. You may recognize him. Words cannot describe how much he cares about you, the students and staff of Brentwood. And he also extends his care to his fellow military personnel. And Remembrance Day is a special day in his calendar. A few years back, he added another special day in his calendar, October 22nd. Mr. Collins was invited to speak to us today about this important day to him. However, last week, he suffered from 2 blood clots in his leg, and he was rushed to hospital for surgery. I spoke with him on Monday, 2 days ago, and he has over 100 staples in his leg now. And thankfully, he is recovering well. He tried to get here today. I said, I think you can have the day off. Our operations team, as usual, responded well when he was in distress. And in his words, they probably saved his leg and maybe even his life. So for obvious reasons, he can't be here today to share his story of October 22nd, and instead asked me to do it on his behalf. A poor substitute, but for him, I'll do my best to honor his wishes. These are Mr. Collins' own words and slides. Good morning. My name is Bob Collins. I would like to start by thanking Brentwood College for allowing me the honor of speaking here today. On November 11th, each year, we gather as a country to pay our respects to military personnel that have been lost in combat in the theater of war. On October 22nd, 2014, I was called upon by one of our veterans, a member of the Branch 134 of the Royal Canadian Legion Malahat, to stand honor guard at our local cenotaph for a member of our military that was lost to an act of violence in our capital city of Ottawa. His name was Corporal Nathan Cirillo, and he was shot and killed while standing as an honor guard at the tomb of the unknown soldier. As I stood at the cenotaph for 39 hours in 2014, I thought about how many more members of our military have we lost in non-combat times and on Canadian soil. With the assistance of the Malahat Legion and Ottawa, we received a list that totals 2,475 members of the military who lost their lives on Canadian soil. We now have official books of remembrance on display at the Branch 134 Malahat Legion. On a historical note, Canada lost 147 soldiers in combat in Afghanistan. Since Canada's withdrawal from Afghanistan, there was a second group that came into focus: service personnel that we have lost to post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. The number of deaths due to PTSD we have been able to confirm is 243. Each year we light a candle in remembrance of these brave people. This now brings our total loss as of today of non-combat military deaths in Canada to 2,663. In 2015, I started to receive a great deal of community support for the vigil with turnouts each year of over 100 people. at the small cenotaph here in Cobble Hill. Members of our military and our amazing community supported the journey. In 2021, I was joined at the cenotaph by head of school Bud Patel and the deputy heads Liam Sullivan and Cheryl Mertland. They, along with other dignitaries, were asked to light a candle as part of our ceremony. They have been with us each and every year since. This year we were joined by Claire Allen, our deputy head of academics. Furthermore, we were honored to have head prefect Simrit attend with the Brentwood representatives to lay a wreath alongside our Member of Parliament, Alistair McGregor. It was an honor to have one of you, a Brentwood student, to be part of this ceremony. In 2002, I received a request from a sister of one of our deceased service personnel to recognize her brother with the singing of "We Will Meet Again." Mr. Noons, Director of Music, added his support by assisting one of Brentwood's students, Jillian, to sing for us. This carried over this year, where we received a request from a family to sing "Go Rest High on the Mountain" for their son Justin, who was just lost to PTSD. Once again, Mr. Noons and Jillian attended and sang for Justin and his family. I'm so pleased that Jillian and Isha will sing this song after my comments right now. With the assistance of our local MP, Alistair McGregor, I have been able to get a bill called C-333 placed into Parliament.
I'd like to acknowledge and thank the member for Courtney Alberni for seconding the bill. I've always had incredible admiration and respect for the men and women who serve and have served our country in the Canadian Armed Forces. In addition to Remembrance Day, October 22nd has taken on significant importance for the veterans community in my riding, particularly for those who are members of Malahat Legion Branch 134. This day is recognized every year in my riding of Couch and Malahat Langford in honor of Corporal Nathan Cirillo and for the more than 2,400 Canadian Armed Forces members who have lost their lives on Canadian soil during peacetime. Since 2013, more than 54 members of the CAF have died as a result of PTSD alone. And yesterday was the 3-year anniversary of the crash that killed Snowbird's captain, Jen Casey, in Kamloops. The bill I'm introducing today will formally recognize October 22nd as Peacetime Service and Sacrifice Memorial Day in their memory. In closing, I want to recognize Bob Collins as the driving force behind this bill and thank him for his continuous efforts to give this day formal recognition and for standing guard at the cenotaph in Cobble Hill in remembrance. Thank you.
Mr. McGregor, seconded by Mr. Johns, moves that the bill be now read a first time and printed. This motion is deemed adopted.
First reading of this bill, premier à tous de ce projet de loi.
When shall the bill be read a second time? At the next sitting of the House.
Mr.
It is my sincere hope that this bill gets passed and we will remember and have an official day of remembrance on October 22nd, each year for these military personnel who have lost their lives on Canadian soil, all in the service of protecting us. We will remember them.
In Flanders Fields by John McCrae.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below.
We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe to you. From failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
On the 11th hour of November 11th, people will gather at war memorials to pay tribute to the millions who have been killed in war. Each will reflect in their own way. Perhaps veterans will think of comrades as they were the few seconds before their death. Wives remember the endless vigil for husbands who never returned. Parents will think of their children who were so young and alive when they left home for the last time. We who are here today at our remembrance service might contemplate the horrors of war and contemplate the blessings of peace.
In the cemeteries of Europe, a simple maple leaf inscribed on over 100,000 gravestones tell visitors that Canadians killed in battle lie buried there. An awful price in human lives have been paid by the youth of past generations to achieve peace. By the act of remembering today, we endure their sacrifices are not forgotten.
Originally in the old Brentwood chapel, built by a past generation of Brentonians, etched in oak, are the names of the fallen Brentonians. This memorial now stands today in the lobby as you came in. Today we pay homage to the courage of those young men who lost their lives during World War II from 1939 to 1945. Please stand for the reading of the Roll of Honor, the Last Post, the Silence, and the Reveille. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Alec Bellici, Docra Barrett Leonard, Norman Beard,
John Bishop, John Bryden, John Campbell,
Arthur Coulter, Alan Dunlop, Robert Field,
Ian Gillespie, John Gillespie, Bruce Hanbury,
Barnett Harvey, Sholto Marlatt, Alan Mayhew,
Ken Osler, Richard Proctor, Robert Proctor,
Lee Salter, Ralph Smythe, Donald Stewart,
John Stubbs, Glenn Svensson, Michael Simmons,
Thornton White, Lawrence Wilkinson, Ted Williams.
Remembrance services are not a glorification of war. They are a call to peace. November 11th is a day of reflection. The torch of peace is being passed on. In the lobby is the roll of honor of the Brentonians who died in World War II. As you leave the theater, please place your poppy there as a tribute to them. The lobby will be left open for you to do this as well at another time.